Oh, let me get one last drink before I start this segment. God dog it. Man. Don't panic, that's what I wanted to do. Just an old man being silly. One of the little tricks that we do in cutting boards and finishing woods and things like this, wet your board before your final sand and let it dry. What that's going to do is that's going to raise the grain, and when you sand it down, it's going to be as smooth as a baby's, and it'll make all the difference in the world in the finish. I mean, right now this board feels like it's just been sanded with 80 grit, and I had sanded it all the way up through 220 grit. And if you recall, I said in one of the earlier videos that I do multiple sandings at 220 grit on all of my boards. And so this will be done just before the last board, I mean, for the last sanding, excuse me. And so now we're going to let this dry, and then we're going to come back and sand everything down to the smooth finish, and then I will clean up everything and we'll get ready to apply the oil to the boards. The other beautiful thing about this is when you wet them like this, you kind of get an idea of what the board's going to look like when it's soaked in the oil. It'll be a little bit darker than this, but it gives you an idea of what it's going to look like. So anyway, that's just one little trick. So I'll be back here in just a few minutes and we'll pick up where we left off at. All right. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pour some of the food grade mineral oil through a filter. We're going to make sure we're getting good clean mineral oil in there. We don't want any contaminants. Of course, being this is going to be food grade stuff, the cutting boards and whatnot, you have to. This is my tub that I do all of my cutting board soaking in the mineral oils, and so you have to clean it, make sure it's clean. You don't want to bring any contaminants into the cutting boards, so you always make sure it's clean before you start any of this. All right, let that filter out. We'll take the cap off of this one, so we'll go on this one now. So what I do is I just submerge my boards in there, and I just let them stay for about 5 or 10 minutes. Take them out, wipe the excess off, and let them dry. Absorb it in. I think they're not going to dry; they're going to just absorb it in. And then after I do the last one, then I'll come back and I'll do these again. And I'll do this probably 4 times, just making sure that I've got them all to where they just won't take on any more oil. Also, I may have been named this video series the 3 cutting boards, but in all actuality, I'm doing 4. The 3 was actually referring to the ones that I was putting the H's in the Purple Heart in, but I'm also doing this cutting board right here, which is just a real simple design. So this is actually 4 cutting boards that I'm doing. So what I want to do before I actually put them in is I want to wipe them down, just make sure I'm getting all the dust off of them. I'll wipe both sides. Okay. And then I just want to just sink it in and just let it go. And here they are. I take these sticks. These are my drip sticks. They go across the board, or across the tub rather, and the boards will sit in them, or sit on them rather, and drip dry into the tub for a little bit. So that's it. Nothing special, like I said. And I'll do this probably 4 times with each board. The beauty is, you know, you get an immediate picture of what the board's going to look like when it's all oiled up. So that's the gratifying part of this whole job, is seeing how pretty the work is that you've been putting in, and how well Mother Nature and God have grown them trees for us to make use of. So anyway, all right, I'll be back. The next thing that I'll be doing as far as the video goes will be applying the conditioner. So I'll be back probably several hours. Like I said, I'll do this probably about 4 or 5 times until they just quit absorbing any of the mineral oil. And then again, this is a food grade mineral oil that I absorb these into, so, or I let these absorb up. So anyway, we'll see you in just a little bit. Well, all right. Welcome. We're going to be wrapping up here. The next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and put the rubber feet on the back of the cutting boards. And then after I do that, then I will apply the wood conditioner that I use. But I just want to show you how I do the feet. So what I do is this ruler or the scale is actually 1 inch wide, so I know that. So what I do is I find from this edge to edge, that's a good point to measure from. I don't want it out here on this side because that's too close to the end, and I don't want it right over it, that's still too close. So I want them kind of right about here. That's going to give us a good balance point all the way across. And so what I do is I find the center of the board. I know each one of these boards is 1 inch wide, so I'll just take this live center and I'll center punch me a starting hole right there, and then I'll do the same thing right here. I will find the center right there, do me a point right there, and then I'm going to bring this over here and do the same thing here on this end, 1/2 inch right there, and then I'll do the same thing right here. So now I've got the center punched on all those. So the next thing I will do, because these boards are 3/4 of an inch thick, I don't want to go all the way through. I want to go no more than half. So I've taken my drill and I've, with the tape, marked 3/8 of an inch, which is half the distance. And instead of wrapping the tape all the way around the drill, let it flap out here like this, because when you get close down to the bottom to your hole, this is going to clear out the sawdust and you're going to be able to see that you're going right down to your tape a whole lot easier. So here we go. And there it is. It cleaned it out. We got it down to size. We'll do this one here. And it wiped it out. Right here on this one as well. And one more. And just like that, it clears them out. So I'll take the drill bit out, put my nut driver in. Now, one thing I do differently, when I buy my little rubber feet at the hardware store, they come with these galvanized steel screws. Those are pretty right now, but as soon as you wash them in soap and water, they're going to be embedded inside the recess of the rubber feet. You're not going to be able to dry them off, and after 2 or 3 washes, those are going to start rusting, and we don't want that. So I always swap out the galvanized screws for brass screws in all of my cutting boards. That way my customers don't have to worry about the screws rusting and ruining their boards with the brass screws. So just bring it down to snug it. Doesn't have to be real tight. And the beauty of this is if the customer's counter is not exactly level, they can adjust the feet by adjusting these screws in or out and level their board. Like I said, don't want it real tight, just want it down just snug enough to hold it. Helps if you have it in straight. There we go. There it is. One more. All right. Well, There we go. All right, last one. That's it. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is to apply the conditioner that I use, and I'll be right back. I'm going to get things out of the way and go ahead and get set up to do that. So hang on, I'll be right back. I use a wood conditioner. It's a Butcher Block conditioner. This happens to be a Howard brand. It does not matter what brand you use. This just happens to be what my local hardware store carries, this one and another brand. Both of them are identical. What you want to make sure is that the Butcher Block conditioner you buy, it contains food grade mineral oil that's stabilized with vitamin E. It has beeswax and carnauba wax. If you can find a block conditioner that has that ingredients into it, that's all you need. It does not matter a manufacturer. Real simple. It's just a matter of squirting some on there and then taking a rag and spreading it out. Now, how much do you squirt? You squirt and you rub it until it doesn't absorb any more into the board. Once the board is full, it's not going to take any more in. You can't overcoat it, okay? All you're going to do is you're going to see it sit on top instead of absorb into the board. You need to make sure that you do not put a cutting board into a dishwasher. They're not going to take the heat and the hot water and the pressure. That's not good for anybody's cutting boards. You also never put them into a microwave or an oven. They're not designed for that as either. They're going to fall apart if you do that. To clean a cutting board, you wash it with soap and water in your sink. You rinse it, and then you immediately towel dry it. Do not let water stand on the surface. So it's just as simple as this. Just put some on the board and rub it in. And this is still going to absorb in, even though I've coated these 4 times, I think it was, in the mineral oil, giving them a bath. This is still going to absorb in. It's not going to go in as deep as the oils would, because this has got wax and stuff to sit on top. So this is more of a conditioner on the top. That's the reason it's called a conditioner. But this is all you need to do once you get your board home. And again, you only need to do it once the board looks or feels like it's losing its luster. And it doesn't take a whole lot. No more than that would be all it would take to completely do the board. Can you do it after every time you wash it? Sure. If you want to do that, that's fine. You're not going to hurt it. Like I said, if it's not thirsty, it's not going to take it in. If it sits over on top, kind of stays shiny like this is right here, you didn't need it. But you're not going to hurt it by trying to keep it coated. So anyway, this is basically a cutting board that's ready to go. I'm going to let it soak a little bit in, and so I'll probably come back in about another hour or two and check on them and give them another fine coat if I need. But I'm going to be delivering these tomorrow to my customer. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up 3 cutting boards, which technically was 4 because the 4th one, like I showed you earlier, just didn't have the H in it, and the 3 was basically referencing inlaying the Purple Heart H's into the boards. But all my cutting boards get this same treatment all the way around. All right, I want to thank everybody again, and if you would, please hit that like button, the subscribe button, and that bell icon. And if you would, please share my videos and my channel with your family and friends. I greatly appreciate it. And while you're at it, leave me comments, and I will reply to every one of them. I appreciate them, and I take every one of them to heart. So this is a wrap for 3 cutting boards. So I appreciate it, and I'll see you in my next project. Thanks.